I do this show twice a week with Sean Salisbury, and the guy's got to come on with I can't even look at the screen. I'm going to have to do the show like this the whole fucking time because, I can't even look at that hat.
Happy Thanksgiving, man. How you feel?
Hey, you know what? I love you too. I love you too. Yeah. Well, you know what?
You got no focus now. I've completely disregarded. And your Yankees got a hose because Verlander didn't go there too.
I know.
Right?
You know what?
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say, but I will say this. I'm very happy that we are separated by over 1,000 miles because, I wouldn't be able to handle this, So, hey, let me ask you this. How many people you got coming over next Thursday?
About 10 or a dozen.
Good for you.
Yeah. Hey,
and you got I wish I could. I'm going to be unavailable, but I will tell you.
California, right?
Yeah.
In California?
But I will tell you this. I will come out and see you. And I love the pictures you put out on social media of your new outdoor kitchen. That looks just sweet. Oh, no, I love it. Looks great.
And then we got the shades that come down so you don't see any glare on the TV around the patio.
Wow.
So the sun keeps it out, keeps it cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And the barbecue. Yeah, I can't wait to have you, man.
Good for you.
Wait to have a big old reunion with some friends and come on in, place to stay, and we'll all smoke cigars and have some fun, brother. Thank you.
You know what, man? I can't wait. Just consider it a done deal. All right. Hey, tonight you've got New England who's rolling at Atlanta. And I've been saying this on my podcast and on my rants. I don't think fans understand how difficult of a scenario this is for a young quarterback who's experiencing a 3-day off period, getting ready for a game on a Thursday night on the road. But you know this a hell of a lot better than I do. What are some of the obstacles that a young quarterback like Mac Jones is going to have to deal with on such short rest on the road?
You know why I'm not overly worried about him, Grant? He's like a 6-year, 7-year veteran. And they've seen this movie before. If it was a different rookie quarterback and a different coaching staff, I would think different about it. I'm not real worried because Belichick's seen this movie a lot of times. And what you do in just a typical week would be play Sunday, come in on Monday, loosen up, lift, stretch it out, watch tape, take Tuesday off, Wednesday hard day, Thursday hard day, and installation and hard day. Friday is special teams, short yardage, 2-minute drill, all those specialty situations. Saturday walkthrough and you go play. So what you got to do now is after you play on a Sunday, right? They played Sunday, right? Yeah. After you play Sunday, you'll watch the tape and then you'll get loose. And then your day off on the next day, you have to, that's installation. So it's the hard day, but it's really it's not a hard day because you can't put gear on. You can't, you guys are just recovering. But that's when the installation and all that. And then it's more mental focus, Grant. It's get your body right, mental focus, not knocking guys around, but you still got to get it all in. So you basically taking 2 days because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is a travel day and a walkthrough day. So you either do it at home and then get on a plane and go, or go to Atlanta and do it. So if it was cross country, it might be a little different, right? But it's not. So Belichick, I'm ready. Mac Jones, and what you do with your game plan, Grant, it's basically you use your base stuff, see a few little wrinkles you put in. So you're not going to you're not going to inundate people with a bunch of new stuff. You're going to execute what you do. Think about a preseason game when you don't game plan for somebody. You're going to execute what you do, and you're scouting, you're force scouting, the scouting you did while you were preparing for the last game, you were also gathering tape on Atlanta and watching them. So you'll keep your base stuff, a few wrinkles, and then you'll go because you don't have time to overload yourself with too much information.
Road teams on Thursday night scare me. Look at what happened last Thursday with Baltimore comes down to Miami, and they just got completely destroyed. I love Mac Jones as much as you do. I'm going to just ask, is it possible you're overvaluing him a little bit? You said he reminds you of a guy that's in his 6th or 7th year, but he's not. He's in week 10 or 11 in his NFL season.
Yeah, maybe, but he hasn't proven to me that I'm overvalued him yet. Right. Because they're on a roll, 4 or 5 in a row. Mm-hmm. They are becoming a threat to the Buffalo Bills if Buffalo doesn't start to pick up their game.
Yep.
Belichick now says, well, I got this guy who I think I'll stay around 10 more years. Why would you at $18 million a year, what he's making in Belichick? So, yeah, Grant, I personally, maybe I am. But Atlanta's got some, beat up tight end. They're a team that was playing pretty good football, but got their butt handed to them last week. And I mean, you start to look at advantages and where does it lie? I mean, coaching staff, because it's not new, you'd rely with the New England Patriots with Arthur Smith at home, indoor building. And listen, if Atlanta's not ready to play, then shame on them, right? Shame on them.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Hey, they're in the wild card race. This is a big game for both. Both teams are in a big race here.
Huge. And that's to be able to get all. And the truth is, you got to get rid of last week's game, good or bad, whether you're the Patriots who won or the Falcons who lost, and focus on the next one. So I don't doubt. I don't think it's a blowout. Hell, Atlanta, I think is favored. Are Atlanta favored in this? No. I can't. I don't even know what the spread is. Yeah, me too. But the bottom line is, listen, Atlanta at home. I don't think New England's going to waltz in there and kick their ass by any stretch of the imagination.
No. I don't either.
You got a veteran quarterback, Matt Ryan, who gets it.
Yep.
You've got Pitts, who creates incredible mismatch problems for any defense. But Belichick will have something even in a short week of making sure, because while it's a short week, what do you think Belichick's thought is? Create a little confusion on the pass rush. So they both know how to throw at both these quarterbacks. So maybe I overvalue Mac Jones a little bit because maybe it's the quarterback position and I do it, but he's given me no reason to think he can't handle pressure, really. And if he plays zone and you drop back and you play zone, he's really good at getting through. He's about as good as anybody at getting through his progressions at his age. So we'll see. I'm anxious to see how Atlanta plays it. Do you say, let's go and get after the rookie and see if we can hit him? Or do you say, let's drop back and play soft zone? Because I think I would cut it loose a little bit. But you can't give me a steady diet of one thing and let Mac Jones know everything that's going on. You better be multiple in this game, which will be hard to do in a short week. I think this is going to be a really close game. I really do. Could be sloppy for a minute as well, in a short week, but I think it'll be a close game.
Hey, man, I love the video that Keith Olbermann put out on you with the Vikings playing the Pack. And how about that? Mike Tice. Okay. I mean, scrambling, rolling out to your left, throwing across your body, hitting the big tight end. And you must love that shit when it just pops up and you're totally unexpected. I
did. It was really cool. The irony of it, Keith Olbermann, you heard him say something in that thing about, Sean Salisbury, that, like an A on his broadcast journalism, his final paper.
Yeah.
You know who his intern was at KTLA Channel 5 before he became Keith Olbermann, ESPN? Me. I cut tape for him while I was at SC playing football, broadcast journalism major. I cut his tape. I was his intern at KTLA Channel 5. So
how about that?
Keith KO for years. He goes on to be a big star. Listen, if you want to talk about a broadcast writer who could come in and write a Sports Center in like 20 minutes, brilliant dude. Regardless if you disagree or agree with his politics, that brilliant guy. But I was his intern, and I remember that game well. And whenever I see him, I'm still undefeated against Favre. I'm still undefeated against Steve Young, and I'm still undefeated against Elway. Not one of those guys beat me. They've won everything else, and they got everything else on me, far better players. But the one thing I never get to give back is I'm undefeated as a starter against those guys. So that was a fun game. It's 2 days after Christmas, and we put a game plan in, and it executed
That's
perfection.
Great.
And with Mike Tice, who was my teammate in Seattle my rookie year, and then all those years in Minnesota, one of my dearest friends, I told him, I said, dude, we had such a technician. I said, we had to time that. He was so excited. It's like his longest touchdown, I said, we had to time your damn run with fucking hourglass, dude. It took us forever to get the end zone. So we have a good time. We have a good time with it. But that was memorable because it was an important game. Denny's first year, we won 11 games, and it was a big TV game in front of our home audience. And that's such a great – and it's Packer Viking week this week too.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see, and I'll never forget that game. And I remember the one play they didn't show that they blitzed in that game, and we had prepared for it all week. And it was like, are they really going to do what we prepared for? And it kind of fell into place. And I had one of those days where it felt like I could close my eyes and complete balls. But I give the teammates I had were so friggin' good. All I had to do was not fuck it up. And in that game, I didn't.
I asked this of former athletes. I asked Will Clark this question when I had him on my podcast, and he was blown away at the question because he said it's never been asked of him before. Is there one game that you played in either college or the NFL that you were just dying to go back and play again? Something that just eats at you, that bothers you? One game in your career that you wish you could go back and play over again?
I thought you were going to say the one game that you remember the most. Yeah,
No.
I remember the bad ones. Grant, I remember the bad ones more than the good ones. Two of them. A playoff game against the Washington Redskins. I started the game. First series, we come down. I'll never forget the play. We call it run past 60 counter X post. Chris Carter runs the save. We run an in route, and Chris Carter's over the top. And we come out of that old, remember the counter tray the Redskins used to run? Well, we ran that play in ours because we had one of their coordinators who was now our coordinator, Jack Burns. And so we come out of that play action and run it, and the safety sits down. I think it was Brad Edwards. And we knew it. He set on the dig route, the in cut, and I threw a big play over the top. And it hit Chris Carter down to about the 1. The next play, we ran it in for a touchdown. And I'm not a big celebrator.
Right.
I'm not a big celebrator. I was in our home building, and I thought we were a Super Bowl caliber team. We were loaded with players, and we had a hell of a year. And I can remember hitting that play, and I thought, this is the way the game's supposed to start. And the Redskins are physical and big. Yep. We were an undersized team, but we were we could rush the passer, and we were really good. And we got in there and we scored. We're up 7-0 early in the first quarter. I think, oh my gosh, I'm thinking in my mind, this is going to be one of those days, right? And I remember I fist pumped, Grant. And I know this sounds so Sean, it's elementary. That had nothing to do with the game, but I'm obsessive compulsive about stuff, right? And I fist pumped, and I didn't jump and celebrate. I've never been that guy. I can't congratulate teammates. My spike would be give it to somebody else to spike the ball, but we scored a touchdown. And I fist pumped, and I remember going to the sidelines, and Jack Del Rio, who's, as you know, one of my dearest friends in the world.
Absolutely.
He ran, and he was our defensive captain, ran and met me on the way back to the bench, met me on the field. He grabbed me right here, and he said, Sals, he said, stay in the moment, stay focused. It's a long game, right? And because he knew I wasn't a big celebrator. He wanted me to say, Sean, it's a one touchdown. It's early. It's a long fucking game. And from then on, got our ass kicked. I did not play well. I missed some easy throws. They ran the ball, that stretch play and outside play, and ran it. I missed some easy throws. You know, stuff that you say, I could do that with my eyes closed. I'd have made that fucking play.
Yep.
And the moment wasn't too big, but it looked like it because it was almost as if, and I didn't lose focus, but I look back and say, there's so many things I do. When I went back and watched the tape, it makes me want to throw up in my mouth. Because we could have beat that team, and they were really good, well coached like we were. But I could have played a lot better on throws. And I made some decisions. I say, Sean, what are you doing? You know, as I look back, say, you wouldn't make that decision. And I'd been in playoff games before, so it wasn't like I was overwhelmed, right? If you're the naked eye, it may have looked like it. And Jack knew that I wasn't. So he wanted to keep me, Sals, we got a good thing going here. And it was everything. But I could have played better. I think I let my teammates down that day. I want that back. Bad. And then another playoff game against the Giants, I'd like to have back because I'll never forget it. We were there, and I remember I came out. Granted, it was as cold a game as I've ever played. It was at Meadowlands, cold, rainy, wet.
With the wind.
And I mean, I'm talking about it was bone-chilling, shaking your teeth cold.
Yep.
And I was backing up the man, and Jim got hurt. And I remember I came off the bench against, that was the Phil Simms, Lawrence Taylor team. You know how fucking good they were. And I'm backed up about our 6 or 7 yard line in our own end zone. And I come in there, and it's freezing. I got about 6 throws to warm up. And the first play they call is a pass. So I throw a hitch and hit it. And then I got into a rhythm, a drop ball. I mean, it was free. I'm thinking, I'm teeth chattering, but thinking, damn, I can't believe I'm throwing, because I had a strong arm, so I could drive it through the wind. And I'm making throws that are hitting, and I hit Chris Carter on a pump seam down the middle, and Chris caught it, and Chris doesn't ever make mistakes catching the ball. He caught it. He's going in to score a touchdown. And his hand, as he comes down, the ball hits his knee and comes out and fumbles. He's going to walk in for a score.
Walk-in touchdown. I remember.
Game, right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I'm like, and I'm not mad at him, but it's like, oh my gosh, and it changed the course of the game.
Yep.
And then you miss a few throws, and I'll never forget Phil Simms coming up to me, and Jim McMahon went back in after Jim got, and I was throwing it well. I'm like, man, I'd love to finish this game, but Mac was the quarterback. He'd been in Super Bowls, and Denny put him back in, and we ended up losing. And I understood that, the Mac going back in, but I'll never forget Phil Simms, and Phil may not even remember it, but I do, because it was Phil Simms. I remember him it wasn't disrespecting Jim. But at that point in time, Jim was later in his career. I had a stronger arm, but Jim was cagey and a great leader and one of the best of all time. And I remember Phil coming up to me and he hugged me, and he said, I'm sure glad they took you out of the game. Meaning that
of course.
Because he could see from a quarterback that things started to flow a little bit. Regardless of the statistics, the ball was where it needed to be. And it was unfortunate. Chris doesn't make those mistakes. It was cold. Jimmy got hurt and came back in.
Yep.
He was dazed, but he kept battling, and we lost. So I'd love to have, and they're both playoff games. And there's
Sure.
a lot of moments in my career I'd like to have back, but those two stick out the most because I feel like in the first one, the Redskins, if I'd have played 75 or 80% of what I had played that year,
well, would have won.
We could have won that football game.
I bet you Phil does remember. I've talked to Phil a number of times, and I go back and talk about games that he played in the 80s, and I talk about certain situations within the game, and he remembers everything. I mean, he remembers who he threw the ball. You know what I'm talking about.
Trap up there, right?
Oh, he's unbelievable. So I bet you he does remember that. Not to get off on a tangent, I've been watching football since 1962. I've seen some tough dudes. I really mean this. I don't know if I've ever seen a tougher guy at the quarterback position than Phil Simms. That guy was fucking, he got killed his first couple of years, and he kept on getting up. He had a couple of injuries, but that guy stood in the pocket. He was tough as nails. I just had so much respect for the way he played the game.
His leadership, and I mean this as a compliment to Phil. I consider great leaders that sometimes you got to have a lot of, just be a prick, right? I'm talking about if the fans are booing you, it's like, man, fuck you, without saying,
out of him.
Nothing bothered him. He could drive it in a wind. Phil Simms threw the ball into the wind as good as any quarterback I've ever seen. He had that wrist cock at the top, right? Yes. And he was as tough as son of a bitch. The two toughest pocket passers that I think I've ever seen are him and Dan Fouts. And they're both the same mentality.
Yes.
They grab you around the throat. If the coach cussed him out, they'll cuss him back out. If a player wasn't doing his job mentally, Phil was he was perfect for the Giants and New York because the media didn't bother him. He didn't give a shit. He'll fight back. The teammates loved him because you knew you could go in there and he'd fight in an alley with you. Oh, listen, you don't have to. He's tough as 100-year-old leather. I used to love watching him play because he'd get hit the shit kicked out of him, and you knew he would finish.
Yeah. Yes.
Phil Simms underrated. Underrated.
No question.
And that's hard to say about a New York quarterback. Phil Simms underrated. I hold Phil Simms in the highest regard when it comes to toughness.
Me too.
And he's one of those guys that I always say, damn, if the world knew how to throw a ball, if you ever wanted to go have a teaching video how to throw it into the wind and not change your mechanics and drive it, Simms was the guy.
That's a great point. All right, a game that I'm really interested in seeing, I think it's a real measuring stick game for Kansas City. They've won 3 in a row, but the first game of that streak was against the Giants on Monday night where they were lucky to win. Then they beat the Packers without Aaron Rodgers. I don't think there's any way in the world they were going to win that game. And then we kind of saw the real Kansas City Chiefs against the Raiders on Sunday night. But, I'm not even sure where the Raiders are now. Now they come home and they host Dallas. We're going to get a really good idea if Kansas City has regained that form that we're accustomed when we think about the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this is going to be because I'll tell you this, I'll be shocked if Dallas doesn't play well. I'll be shocked. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win, but they're not going to come in there with their C game or their B game. I think we're going to learn a lot about the Chiefs on Sunday. I
do too. And we're also going to learn about the Cowboys if they're a Super Bowl team, which I think we are. I think they are, going on the road in a hostile environment and showing up and saying, it doesn't matter where we play. And Grant, there's games you anticipate. Like I look forward to Tampa and New England this year, right?
Yep.
Early in the season when Tampa also played the Rams, I was looking forward to that. And there's certain games. Let me tell you something, brother. I cannot wait to sit in front of that TV and watch these two get it on. Because if, in fact, what we saw against the Raiders is the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's 77,000, a sea of red with barbecue smell in the parking lot, they're going to be going friggin' crazy.
Yep.
And old school owners from the Hunts, way back in the day, right? I think about that stuff, the old school Chiefs and Cowboys. And this is a game that is a grown-ass man football with great quarterbacks. Cowboys advantage in the run game, Mahomes skill set. But I'll tell you what, you're not going to – you won't finish your sentence if you're talking about if Dak has creeped up and closed that gap. And both teams have massive monster wide receivers. Defenses on the Cowboys are Johnny on the spot. If you turn it over, you're screwed. So I friggin' can't wait. I hope it's cold. I hope it's friggin' phenomenal, and it'll be packed. We are going to learn a lot. If the Chiefs that played the Raiders show up, the Cowboys better bring their fucking A game. I'll tell you that. Because if the Chiefs start to feel this, Grant, right? Now, I don't know if you can turn a defense around at midway point and say all of a sudden they became great and physical. No. That's my concern. I'm really not concerned that Mahomes is going to have a good game. I count on him. I think that he says he's got his mojo back, and if he does, look out, right? He was throwing 25 touchdowns. He's thrown 10 picks. He can't throw. He throws 2 picks. They're not winning this game.
They're going to lose.
So he's got to have a monster. He's got to take chances, but be smart. But he's also got to have the be judicious with the football to where he doesn't feel like he can fit one in where you shouldn't try to fit one in. Prescott's accurate. I think, to me, this is one of my favorite games of the year. Yep. And it's because I want to find out how real the Chiefs are, or if they are, and if they've got the guts to fight back in this thing. And I want to see if the Cowboys are a legitimate February team, which I believe they are. But if you like great quarterback play, one with great mechanics, the other one who's, off schedule, you're going to love this frigging game. And keep an eye in the trenches on what offensive line takes care of their business this week. And that, whoever that is, I would imagine that team's going to win this game. That's my biggest key. Because I already know who the Chiefs defense is, I think. Yep. I already know who the Cowboys defense is. The key is you can't let either – if these quarterbacks get comfortable, they both may throw for 400 yards. It's that type of game. Yep.
I know this is a small deal, and you're probably going to think, it doesn't fucking matter. If I'm Kansas City, I want the ball first in this game.
Hell yes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not deferring if I win the toss. Give me the fucking ball and let my offense dictate the tempo, get the crowd going, try to build up on what you did last week in Vegas. I don't believe in the Chiefs defense. I do not want them going on the field if I'm a Chiefs fan and watching Dallas go right down the field, which I think they would. If
I'm the early to mid 70s Steelers, I'll put them guys out there first, right? You go get me the ball back. I'm okay with that. Or the 85 Bears. Give me the football because I know I'm getting that ball. I always, as a player with our defense, I wanted to defer. I wanted our defense because I knew they'd get a stop. And somehow, hell, they may even get us a turnover in short field.
You're going to get good field position.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
But with this game, it can be deflating because if you defer and the Cowboys take the ball first, they may run it right down your throat and go up and it'll be 7-0 3 minutes into the game. And you're like, we're already in a chase mode. And then the mentality shifts, right? Oh, there is no question. You want to put Mahomes on the field. You want to go score and hope the Cowboys go 3 and out. And then you're up 10 or 14-0. Now, everything shifts. Yeah, there's no damn way if Andy Reid's wise, and I think he is, that I would allow the Chiefs defense to go on the field first. No way. If they win the toss.
Michigan State at Ohio State. Michigan State, I saw their underdog by fucking couple of touchdowns. I mean,
I ain't buying that. I'm not buying that one.
I'm not either. I'll look at the line while you're talking, but how does Michigan State win this game? It's with Walker on the ground. I mean, they have to control the clock. They've got to be able to run the ball. Do you see, 30%, 40% chance you could see Michigan State winning this game?
Yeah, I'm 65-35.
Okay.
Like Ohio State, because it's in there. Now, I'll tell you what, it's in their building. And think about this now. Mel Tucker, I believe, was coached. Grant, here's the respect and how they hold him in high regard. And with other schools being interested in him. Mel Tucker's about to get a 10-year, $98 million contract.
How about that?
You know that he's not won a Big Ten champion. I think he's head coach 18 games there.
It's unbelievable.
And so you talk about how they feel about his recruiting and what he's building there. 2 touchdowns seems away. Now I may be missing something on this. If it is 2 touchdowns, right now. For me, I would, if it's me, Kenneth Walker wins the Heisman Trophy. He jumps to the forefront of the Heisman Trophy this weekend. That if I'm Michigan State, my approach is, if you keep giving Ohio State speed chances, they're going to get you. They will eventually get you. I want to shorten this game, Grant, as much as I can. Shorten it, and use your physicality against Ohio State. Because if you try to play sideways against them, bad idea. And on defense, I don't get too cute. And with those, they got 3 receivers that can beat you. I'd play a lot of zone. I'd make a young quarterback. The toughest thing for young quarterbacks to do is to get through progressions in their reads. So why would I allow C.J. Stroud, who's jumped to the forefront of the Heisman, drop back and have a one-man read, and you get Olave running a fade route and beating you? And you can't give up chunk plays if you're Michigan State. You have got to keep everything in front of you. They can get all the yards they want. You can't give up the home run this week. What were you going to say?
19 and a half fucking points.
No, it's too much for me.
I mean, I know it's too much for me too. I couldn't believe that. See, when I saw it earlier in the week, I thought I fucking misread it, and now I'm looking at it again.
If I was betting today, I'm betting Michigan State all day and twice on Saturday and Sunday. Kenneth Walker carries the ball. You know what? He carries it 40 times. Right. If I can, I'm going to shorten the game, and I'm going to play a ton of zone. Hope I get a front seven that's physical, because Ohio State can run it too. But I am not going to allow them to beat me with the home run. If they beat you with the home run and Michigan State has to throw every down to chase, not good. Stay in your offense. And the way you stay in your offense, keep it within 10 points the entire game. And then in the fourth quarter, you got a chance to win it. Because Ohio State can chase you down and throw it. Michigan State, then they can throw it a bit, but their whole thing is going to be play action and Kenneth Walker, run it. Give him the ball, shorten the game, and don't give Ohio State 80 plays in the game, and you got a chance. I just think 19.5 is way too much.
Yeah, it's like Alabama's playing Arkansas this week. And listen, I understand Alabama in their ranking, but I'm also looking at the games that have been fairly close. They're 3-touchdown favorite against Arkansas. I mean, that's a lot of points in that game. I'd be more leery about taking the points in Arkansas than I would be with Michigan State. I'm with you. I think Michigan State's going to cover. I don't know if they're going to win, but I think they're going to cover. What do you think of that spread?
Ohio State, obviously, and tell you what, the Big Ten reps trying to get themselves in position to obviously be in the Final Four, and they're sitting there, Ohio State. But I can guarantee you Ryan Day's team's going into this game saying, if we don't let Kenneth Walker – put it this way, if Kenneth Walker rushes for less than 100 yards, Ohio State's winning the game.
That's right.
I need like 35 carries for 218 yards. I need an epic – a Heisman Trophy guys always have a Heisman moment.
Yep.
He's got to have it against Ohio State.
That's a lot, boy. You think over 200 yards is what it has to be for them to win the game? Huh?
When I said that's maybe a hyperbolic, I'm talking about, Grant. That 34 carries, 197, 185. Right. Like, one of those where it's a signature game where you say when the Heisman Trophy voters they say remember that game against Ohio State. He can't have a 21 carry 74 yard game because that'll mean Ohio State's defense has showed up.
All right, now let's go to the Oregon-Utah game. Oregon on the road. Obviously, they got to win out to get into the playoff. They're in the driver's seat right now. That's only a 3-point game. That spread on that game is 3. Going into that area in Utah, a little bit of altitude. That's a tough place to play. But break down this game for me. How do you see this going? What are one of the 2 keys that you see on Saturday?
If you're the Oregon Ducks, your advantage is you're incredible. You can run, right? They've got a good, solid quarterback, and that's one where you can play east and west and get to the sidelines and get to the edge. Utah is who Utah always is. Always. Line it up, manhandle you at the line of scrimmage, and beat you down to the point where we beat you till we bloody your nose the entire game. That's a hard place to play. I wouldn't touch this point spread. I wouldn't bet this game for my life because I know what both coaches want to do. Even though the perimeter in Oregon's far a better team than Utah, but you got an offensive line coach, as I mentioned the other day, and a defensive linebacker that both head coaches that they do not want to win this game coming out of saying, yeah, man, boy, what a finesse moment, right? And here's the clear: you're going to have to get more physicality out of Oregon and more finesse out of Utah. Does that make sense, Grant? And yes. It does. It's a tough play. If this was going to Oregon on that, I would Oregon by 7.5 points. I'd be all over that. But in their building in Salt Lake City, I wouldn't touch it because if Utah wins, it will not surprise me. And that'll eliminate the Pac-12 from a national championship hope or a Final Four, a playoff hope. But there's a part of me that thinks that Utah is going to win the game. Matter of fact, that's who I lean to in this game because it's there. But it's going to be there's going to be a good supply of body bags because Utah will hit you. And Kyle Whittingham's going into this game with one thing: get after the quarterback. Don't give up. They can't let them because what they'll do, they'll spread you out and hit those big gashing runs, right? Yep. They like to do. They're going to want to control and keep everything in a phone booth in a box. And if they do that, Utah will win the game. If this starts to get fast, look out. Oregon.
If I told you on Saturday you could only watch one game, are you going with the first game we talked about at Ohio State, or are you going with the game Oregon at Utah? If you could only watch one game on Saturday, which one are you watching?
First one. It'll be a fun. It'll be a bet. It'll be. There's more stars in the May, and it's going to be. It's going to be. Is it Big Ten sluggish Michigan State type game, or is it? We have that twist of the Ohio State game breaking that they can make you blink and you're down 17-0. And then the other side, I'm gonna watch them both. But if I only could watch one, it would be Michigan State and Ohio State, because I promise you, Mel Tucker, even though players don't pay attention to point spreads, they know they're a heavy underdog, and he is going to kick their ass.
All right. I'm going to assume, just for our conversation, that Ohio State wins. You and I are not doing a show next week for the holiday week. So I want Jim Harbaugh and Michigan. We know what their nemesis is, okay? Michigan's got an easy game this week, so they're going to win. At Ann Arbor, all right, here it is. You almost think to yourself, if it doesn't fucking happen this year, when the hell is it going to happen? Assuming that Ohio State beats Michigan State, could you see Michigan winning, or do you think it's just too much for them?
No, if Michigan State bludgeons, with them physically against Ohio State, if they beat them where it's one of those where Ohio State comes out bloodied, they may not recover. I can see Ohio State losing 2 games in a row.
No shit.
Yeah. Now, listen. I think Ohio State right now, if you said, Sean, pick a winner, I think Ohio State will beat Michigan State.
Okay, so let's go with that premise.
Yes, but when I mean bludgeon, I don't mean bludgeon on the scoreboard. I'm talking about they come out of that thing
physically beat up.
Weary. Yes.
Right.
Guess what you got to face the following week? The same shit.
Yeah.
The same. And this one now is in Ann Arbor, where you got to go on the road, beat a Michigan team that actually believes this year's their time and they're going to take care of it. I'm sure they think it every year. And you're playing a young quarterback who's extremely talented, both teams with young quarterbacks. If this game is close with Michigan State, Ohio State, and it's a physical beat up, where it's like Ohio State comes out, we won, but damn, I would probably right now lean towards Michigan in their building next week. And if that point spread comes back, Ohio State by 15 next week.
Oh my God.
Then I don't understand. Then they know a lot more than I do. And when they set these lines, but it is going to be a physical battle. And the key, what happens when you get into these games is you get stubborn and is not to get, I guess, Grant, I want to say, don't be too cute, right? Don't be too cute. Like when I watched Michigan, when they got beat against Michigan State, right?
That's right.
Right. When you get too cute, I don't need all the change up gimmicks and
don't fucking put a new quarterback in who's cold.
No,
right.
If you're going to do that, give me it in the second quarter when it's 7-7 and it's a 40-yard line and everybody's warm and we're good to go. Don't gimmick me. That's what sometimes you get too cute, try to outthink yourself. What got you there with the few adjustments? The problem is teams, they get to a point, who they are, and then they don't try to be who they are, right? And so if Michigan State bloodies the nose of Ohio State, even if Ohio State wins, let's see how quickly they respond and can handle it 2 weeks in a row.
All right, so tonight you like New England. You think it's a fairly close game, right?
Yeah, I do. And I think the truth is this is an Atlanta Falcons team, Grant, that is in a great closing team. Even if they have a big lead,
can't figure them out.
They can't hold it. They don't hold big leads. But they also are the team down 3 touchdowns. They're capable of going boom, 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 throwing it down the field. I do like New England in the game. But if they don't hit Matt Ryan, he's going to throw for a lot of yards. I just don't know how if they're going to run it and where the confusion is. But right now, Mac Jones is playing every bit as good as Matt Ryan is.
Sure.
And on a short week. And coaching advantage, we know where that lies, obviously, with New England. I do like New England. I like Ohio State. If we're just talking about straight winners, not point spread. Because I would take Ohio State in the game, Michigan State, and I would take Utah in the game at Utah.
All right. I'm looking at this game tonight. I'm looking at the NFC wildcard race where the whole fucking conference is alive pretty much, except for my Giants. But with the extra team this year in the NFC, it's amazing that the Atlanta Falcons are one of the teams that you circle and go, this is a fucking huge game tonight. When you look at the schedule and go New England at Atlanta, you're like, Then you examine the standings. This is a big fucking game for both teams tonight. It's huge. It
is. Atlanta needs to stay in the hunt wild card wise. And listen, Tampa's lost a couple games. New Orleans just got beat. Carolina got a win. I mean, we're talking about this is getting interesting in the South for them, right? Tampa's still the best team. And then you look for the New England Patriots. Listen, while we've all crowned Buffalo Bills the king of the AFC East, go ahead and lose one more game and let New England win one.
Yep.
Now and listen, we could say what we want. Yeah, Buffalo, but do you really put it past a Bill Belichick team to hang around until if they start to see the blood, say, we can beat them? And I think they got to play each other again at some point. I know they do at least one more time. I don't think they played once yet. Has Buffalo played New England yet?
No, they played twice in the span of 3 weeks in December.
That's right. In December. We talked about That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So
fucking ridiculous.
It's a monster game because if you can stay in there and you say, game plan against both of them, let's go. So you want to keep yourself close. This is like you said, when you looked at the schedule, it's like, oh, rookie quarterback at the beginning of the year, Atlanta's not good. No. This is a friggin' huge game.
And I'll tell you what else is huge. New England's got Tennessee at home. Then they got Buffalo, then a week, and then Buffalo again. So this game for New England, if they lose this game, they could be looking at a several-game losing streak when you look at their schedule.
Right, and they're on a 4 or 5 in a row winning streak. They need this win to give them a little bit of a buffer that in case they get beat by one of those teams, they can hang on. Yeah, this is a game you're like, screw, we're going on the road. We should beat the Atlanta Falcons, and that's how they're approaching it. Have to.
Atlanta's favored by 6.5. That's surprising.
I would bet if I'm gambling the game, I'm taking New England, but it doesn't surprise me if Atlanta wins this game. Desperation either brings out the good or bad in you, and Atlanta's in a desperate situation right now.
How much would it cost me to have you take that fucking hat off?
Nothing, because I love you. There you go. I need a haircut. There you go. I just had to tease you with it. There you go. There you go. I just had to let you see the socks. That's all I needed to give you, brother. I am a friend first and an antagonizer second. There you go.
Just so you know, my podcast on Tuesday, because I'm going to be traveling all week, is I took what you said last week on Veterans Day about your story with Russell and your story and how you feel about the homeless in this country. And I went back and I listened to that twice. And I had a lot of people reach out to me and they were really touched by what you said. And I know you get emotional by it, but I felt so good about it. I want you to know that I'm putting it on my podcast platform on Tuesday because I want people to hear your message.
That means a lot to me, my man. Thank you. And it's, my whole thing in doing that, not only to take care of somebody, but was that hopefully people understand that, that it's okay, that you don't have to be afraid. Sometimes the homeless, we got that, that if it pays it forward and somebody, I don't care if it's a turkey dinner for a homeless person, if it's a shirt, those things matter. So, and not everybody, is going to take somebody in for 16 months. I don't expect that, but just where we get a different perspective. So thank you. And you have a great platform, and to put it on there means a lot to me. And I know it would mean a lot to Russell as well. And I'm in the middle of a sock drive right now too. And you've seen that. So if anybody wants to go on and look at that, you can go to the @S Salisbury Show on Twitter. There's a pinned tweet of address. You can send socks. We got 15,000 2 years ago. We'll probably get 20,000 pairs of socks, Grant. And I can't begin to tell you how important socks are to homeless. We kind of take it for granted, the thing.
Sure.
But if your feet are cold or they're blistered, it's miserable for those folks. And we'll spread them and they'll use it wisely. And every pair of socks will go to somebody who needs them. So if it's on there, but homeless means a lot to me. And thank you for putting it on your platform. It's a nice way to go into Thanksgiving. So we'll run this through December. So for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we'll compile it all, and it'll be nice to give socks away. So thanks.
Well, you're awesome, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. I love doing this show. We're not going to be doing it next week, but we'll pick it up a week from Tuesday. So, hey, have a great day. You're awesome, man. I love you. I just love what you're all about. I respect the hell out of you, and I'm very happy that we have this platform to do this twice a week, man.
You're one of my favorite people in the world, brother. I love you too. We've been friends for a lot of years, and it does nothing but get stronger. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving to your listeners, to everybody here. It's it was always my dad's favorite holiday, and he's not around anymore, and it's my favorite holiday. So I love it when we could, no gift giving, so nobody's mad that they didn't get it. So everybody's happy. We eat it up, and we'll throw down, and we'll come back and talk about what our favorite dish was afterwards. So I'm a big jalapeno cream corn guy. I make the best jalapeno cream corn on the planet. So stay tuned. Even if I don't, let's pretend I do. Okay.
I hope the Raiders don't ruin your holiday, man, because they play on Thursday in Dallas.
Well, guess what you can't ruin with that food and cold beer that's going to be at my Thanksgiving. You ain't ruined that. All my kids will be here, family.
Great.
So it's going to be a great day. I wish you the best. Safe travels. Happy Thanksgiving. I love you and thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
You're the best. Happy Thanksgiving to you and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Be safe and thanks for watching us right here on No Filter Network.